I know with black folks, in my own experience, is black folks are actually very conservative. Get your real estate license. It's a hard life. It's not for everyone because you have to be self-propelling. You have to be a self-starter. And there's a lot of time alone, and you have to be able to lift yourself up because of so much rejection. So I would advise someone not to do it.
How to live beyond society's expectations. RuPaul's Realest Life Advice. I was never a young child who never really fit in with blacks or white, or homosexuals or anyone. Also, it helps me overcome some of the cultural barriers we all face. It was a fall diversity conference in Laguna Beach, Montage. I was at Rasasha Montage Hotel. As people of color, how do we go forward amid injustice and division? So, I won't identify names, but they were all big players. The heavy guns arrived. Meanwhile, I believe you must take stock if you truly wish to progress. Assume you had a store and needed to inventory, and it hasn't sold. Get rid of it and move on. We don't debate. In the end, I was only an observer. I got to introduce a few people, but not that. I wish I had, but I'll bring it up now. It's quite simple. And I remember making a promise at 14 years old. I'd never gone. I'd always seek change. A surgical table without anesthesia felt like that. So I anesthetized myself for years. That also failed. The Periphery is a wonderful location to work and create. Fandom and drag are the ultimate masculine treasons. The ego is about identity, and this is treason. So I'm a sailor now. I recently stated that I reserve the right to love and despise something. I reserve the right, night or day, man or woman. That's what this is. And realizing that is why we are witches. We decide who we are, what we do, and how we live. A view from afar. I'm here to learn from life's mistakes. So acquire your real estate permit. It's not easy, but it would help if you were self-propelling. You must be a self-starter. There's a lot of alone time, and you have to be able to lift yourself.
You know, when I think of what's happened in the past few years, it has very little to do with policies and more to do with a bigger dialogue that we don't discuss, which is the duality and the double narrative that each human walks around with at all times. There are two of you. The one that says, well, I want equality and I want people to be forward-thinking, and that same voice also has an ad on Craigslist that says, no femmes, no fats, and no Asians. That sort of dichotomy that lives in each of us. So when you think about this election really is, what's happening politically, is about the old guard being phased out, they're obsolete. If you worked in a factory and you haven't learned how to do something else, you're obsolete, and that's just nature. Nature is phasing those people out. And they, as a last-ditch effort, elected this buffoon to try to turn back the hands of time. Even at my family reunions, I sort of stuck out, really didn't sort of fit in. And I just want to say, you know, some of the people at this conference, lovely people, they would look at me and I'd introduce myself. I'm a sensitive boy. There was a pushback. They didn't know, and this is humans, they didn't know how to categorize me in their consciousness. Is it gay? You do the drag thing? Do you want to be a woman? And, you know, all of that. They couldn't do it, right? So I've always gotten that from people that don't know how to put me in a thing. And the truth is, why do you have to put me in a thing? Why can't I just be? You know what I mean? So it was interesting for me to be at this conference with all this hope in my heart that we were going to push this thing forward, and it actually be the same old thing that it has always been. And I found for myself success and a way to sort of maneuver through this life through laughter, the love, and understanding the big picture. The big picture. When you back up, I just call it my Google Earth button, where it does that woo whoop thing like that, and get to see the whole landscape and go, oh, right, it's not that big a deal. I'm here experiencing life, the good, the bad, the ugly, the whole thing, everything, all of it. It's good. It's all good. I have always worked and did my art on the fringe, where I feel very comfortable. So, getting into punk rock bands and getting into drag, not because I want to be a woman, but because it is the ultimate act of treason in a male-dominated culture, is to play with feminine things. Not only that,